Folks, welcome to Movie News Monday, where every single Monday, live on Twitch, we cover the world of entertainment. We're talking movies, television, MCU, DCUs, all the U's. You know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button so that you get brought back and learn a little bit more. Because, folks, the Oscars are right around the corner. So we have a lot that we need to talk about because we got some stakes on our Oscars, but we're going to talk about that later. First and foremost, today, we've been talking a lot about the Ellisons recently. You know, we've been talking about David Ellison. We've been talking about Larry Ellison. We've been talking about Paramount buying Warner Brothers and all this kind of stuff. And I know, it's really stressful. But folks, let me introduce you to a new character. One we might actually like. This is Megan Ellison. Did you know, chap? Did you know there was another Ellison? That's right. Megan Ellison, the sister of David Ellison, who is the CEO of Paramount Skydance. Paramount. Megan Ellison is his sister, and she is the executive behind Annapurna Pictures. Now, if that name sounds vaguely familiar, it's because Annapurna Pictures had a really prominent start in sort of the small to middle market movies back in the day, partnering with some incredible filmmakers like Catherine Bigelow, Barry Jenkins, and soon to be Oscar winner, more than likely, Paul Thomas Anderson. So Annapurna Pictures kind of went MIA for a little bit, but they are looking to make their comeback. So Megan Ellison is bringing on some executives and looking to bring on some more. Annapurna also had one of the biggest sales of Sundance this past year with Olivia Wilde's movie The Invite. And she just recently, Megan Ellison just recently rehired Chelsea Barnard and Matthew Budman, who used to be the co-heads of the company and are now coming back again to be the co-heads of the company. They have some incredible repertoires within them, working on movies like Zero Dark 30, Detroit, as well as American Hustle, Joy, Booksmart, Her, movies like that. There was a period in which Megan Ellison, still in her 20s, received 2 Best Picture nominations in the same year for Spike Jonze's Her and David O. Russell's American Hustle. So Megan Ellison is like the anti-David Ellison as far as strategic incentive and artistic principle. David Ellison wants to make big boom, bring back canceled celebrities, big universal action blockbusters, where Megan Ellison likes to make like headier dramas and more auteur style films that make you think and make you wonder. So Annapurna is making their comeback. They did kind of go into a little bit of a slowdown prior to COVID because they tried to get into the distribution model, which, if you don't know, when it comes to movie studios, you have some studios that are strictly sort of production companies and some studios that are strictly distributors. Funny enough, A24 started out as a distributor and then eventually got into production, where in this case, Annapurna got into production and tried to get into distribution and didn't quite go well. So we'll see. They're hiring up again. They had a very big splashy show at Sundance, and they're bound to have some pretty good relationships with with Warner Brothers and Paramount, all things considered. Megan Ellison did partner with her brother briefly once. Skydance and Annapurna both had the rights to the Terminator franchise, but after one film together, Annapurna actually exited that deal and left Skydance as the sole owner of the Terminator franchise. So Megan Ellison is the good Ellison, I suppose, but she's still She's still part of that crew. The thing that's good about this is that we are going to maybe see a little bit more resurgence of those small to middle market budget movies. So movies that are like the 20 million to 20 to maybe $80 million films, which I know is so much money when we talk about anything outside of movies. But in the movie making world, that's great sort of middle ground pictures that can have maybe multiple big name actors and have a little bit more exciting of subject matter. We were talking earlier when we were playing some of our other games about movies like Zero Dark 30 and The Hurt Locker and stuff like that. Movies like Detroit, American Hustle, those are Annapurna Pictures movies that are actually incredibly successful. They have very interesting type of subject matter, and they're not really limited to what they show on screen compared to a smaller, like $3 to $5 million movie that maybe you'll get one big actor, maybe you'll get to show some unique sequences, but it's not nearly as possible. So Annapurna making a comeback with Megan Ellison. I'm not excited to see more Ellisons running Hollywood, but that's a win for the industry, I suppose. It's a small victory. We'll call it that. Movie News Monday might be the highlight of your week. I know it's the best part of mine, but there's someone out there who's not a fan of Mondays, and that is Garfield. And today we have learned that New Girl's Lamorne Morris is going to be voicing Garfield in a new Paramount Plus TV series. That's right. Winston has gone from owning cats to becoming a cat. I mean, this is just fun casting. I love Lamorne Morris, or should I say, was it Golden Globe or Emmy? What did Lamorne win? It was an Emmy. He won an Emmy for Fargo. So Emmy winner Lamorne Morris will be voicing Garfield. Didn't Chris Pratt voice Garfield, or was that a fever dream that I had? Yeah. Oh my God, that movie did come out and it actually exists. That's insane. So Lamorne Morris, yeah, absolutely. See, and this is also exactly what we were talking about. Paramount Plus is creating this Garfield animated series. It's going to be a 2D animated series, so back to the original art style. And funny enough, we were just talking about, one of the Ellisons, while Annapurna's looking to make, interesting character drama comedies that are selling at Sundance. David Ellison is working on bringing Garfield back into the public zeitgeist. So, hey, here we go. The series tentatively titled Garfield, coming from Nickelodeon Animation Studios. David H. Johnson and John Trebek III are going to be the executive producers. They come from SpongeBob SquarePants and The Middlemost Post. I'm not familiar with that show, but hey, good for y'all. So Garfield's coming back. You can all rest at ease. Your favorite cat is going back on your favorite streaming app on Paramount Plus. How many of you are Paramount Plus subscribers? Show of hands. Show of hands. There's nowhere else to watch Survivor. What, am I going to get cable? Want to watch Survivor on NBC? No, of course not. You might have seen the headline talking about Pixar chief Pete Docter saying that Pixar is not in the business of making, $100 million therapy sessions. And that was kind of going a little bit viral. And, we're all looking to be angry at someone with Pixar because Pixar has been a little bit less than successful recently. Although I have heard good things about Hopper. It's on my list. I really want to go see that soon. Or Hoppers, I suppose. But we need to acknowledge that it's been a little bit tougher for the world of Pixar. We have, Soul wasn't a big hit. Onward came out during the pandemic. Elementals wasn't a super big hit, although it's gotten semi-decent reviews. Luca kind of came and went, all things considered. Elio underperformed, and though it's up for an Oscar, it's most certainly not expected to win. And so a lot of people are sitting here going, Pixar, What you got, y'all? What you got? Shout out Turning Red. Absolutely. Turning Red is a sleeper hit. That movie is fantastic. But Pete Docter here with the Wall Street Journal, we do a little bit of a deep dive as to what has been happening recently. And as you can see on this graph that they have on screen, it's been tough outside of Inside Out 2, which was surprisingly the highest grossing animated movie like ever. They have had a string of unsuccessful films over at Pixar. So what have they had to do to shift it around is rely on the old reliable. I mean, what you see here is every single successful movie for them has been a sequel. Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, Inside Out 2. So back in the day, Pixar used to have a sort of, one for them, two for us mentality. That is unfortunately having to pivot these days, where originals and original stories for Pixar are not going to be the main focus. As the article says here, Toy Story 5 is expected to be a blockbuster. Incredibles 3 is in production and scheduled for 2028. A second Coco is expected to land in 2029. And this was breaking news from this post. A third Monsters, Inc. is in development. So we're just leaning on everything that's worked in the past, because I suppose that's the only thing that's making Pixar money these days, which is disappointing because they are really trying with some of these original stories. They just seem to not be hitting the market. And I know folks have argued there's been a couple of different things with Pixar's movies, whether it be the subject matter, whether it be the art style, that it's not nearly as exciting as some of the other stuff that's coming out. Pixar is taking some of that into effect. Some of the movies that they're coming out with soon are going to have different types of animation. I don't believe there's any pictures here, but one of their next upcoming movies is going to have a little bit of 2D animated worked into it as well. But the studio did kind of had, as a lot of insiders or Pixar, they have a word for it. It's like Pixar rights or something like that. It's ridiculous. They have it more than once in this article. But there was a 2023 Come to Jesus meeting that Pete Docter hosted. The Pixarians, that's what it is. That they erred on making too many autobiographical movies and needed more broadly commercial hooks. Pixarians remembered it as a Come to Jesus speech, which is really disappointing because so many wildly successful movies recently, especially animated movies, have been, semi-autobiographical or extremely personal. Even something like K-pop Demon Hunters is personal in that, we've never had a Korean style movie like that before be as successful. There hasn't been an animated movie based in Korea that's reached general audiences like it has with K-pop Demon Hunters. And like chat here is saying, you can do originals successfully, but you need to do it with a creative enough risk, right? Like a movie like Soul, exactly like what the point in chat is here. Like that movie didn't get a lot of people on board. It was also extremely similar to Inside Out. I know a lot of people look when I try to think about like general audiences being confused, I always try and think, what did my mom say? What did my mom say about this movie? And I remember her being like, so is this a sequel to Inside Out? So you got to remember, Soul came out like years and years ago. And you look at the art style and it's pretty consistent with everything that Pixar does. You look at the subject matter and you go, wait, what is this? What is, I don't fully follow it. So I definitely understand that maybe the decisions that they're making for the movies that they greenlight may be tougher compared to some of the sequels that they're doing, which generally seem to work. Now, to address the elephant in the room with what's been happening over at Pixar, there has been some changes going into effect regarding specifically queer stories and LGBTQ subject matter We know that Pixar is a relatively progressive studio. They have, as this article points out, gender neutral bathrooms and LGBT employees and stuff like that. But with their Disney Plus series Win or Lose, they did remove an entire story arc regarding a character being transgender. And as we have found out semi-recently, Elio did have originally, with the original director who dropped out of the film, had a more direct plot that hinted at Elio having issues with possibly a queer identity. Now, I know that there's been a lot of arguing back and forth about the validity of that being the case with the movie and how much of it was written out, but the fact that any of that is questioned, and there's probably deeper stories that we don't have full insight into, it's not great. It's not great to hear that, and it's not great to hear that the attitude that Pete Docter has is we're making a movie, not hundreds of millions of dollars of therapy. Pixar found parents didn't want entertainment to force them to have a conversation they weren't ready for with their children, which is just such a disappointing way to look at it. It makes me think about how Snoop Dogg had that reaction about the Lightyear movie, about how there was a lesbian couple that had a child. And Snoop Dogg was like, well, I don't want to have to explain this to my kids or to my grandkids. And it's like, what is there to explain? Yeah, she has two moms. Okay, they have the question, well, how does that work? Well, when two people love each other and they want to be parents, they find a way to be parents. Wow, what a simple way to explain a 3-second shot in a movie, right? And sure, you can choose to have the subject matter of your movie be a little bit more in depth about everything like this, but if that's what it is, then like, that's what you're signing up for. That's what the movie is. You know, be an educated consumer when you're going out to see a movie, and don't just walk in and be like, oh, I guess I'll like it. Be prepared to have some of these conversations, because this is what the real world is. If it's not going to be in their entertainment, it might be in their classroom. It might be at the grocery store. Because I'm sorry, queer people exist. You know, disabled people exist differently. People who are different than you exist. You're going to stumble into them one way, shape, or form. So why not lean into it in your entertainment? I don't think that's that's not introducing $100 million therapy session. Like, that's just like the world, you know? So anyways, I rambled for a bit there. With their next upcoming releases, Pixar is working on Gato, which is about a feline thief in Venice. This is the movie that is incorporating some 2D animation with hand painting fur and things of that nature. And then we also have Ono's Ghost Market, which was originally going to be a Disney Plus series inspired by the Asian myths about supernatural bazaars where the living and dead interact. This one apparently has not been publicly confirmed. However, Wall Street Journal did get some insider knowledge into that. And Pixar is also developing its first musical from Turning Red director Domi Shi. Love that for Domi Shi, because again, like Chat was saying, Turning Red was a slept-on Pixar movie. It's actually fantastic and a deeply personal film, might I add. And Domi Shi deserves more opportunities to shine. Very curious about Pixar doing a musical and how they will feel compared to something like a Disney animation musical. And will they line this up and create competition with them themselves? Very interesting to see. So that's it for today as far as Pixar goes. You know, I'm rooting for them. I haven't seen Hoppers yet, but I am excited to check it out. Toy Story 5, sure, I'm probably gonna watch it. Like most people are. Monsters Inc. 3, I'm not really looking forward to that. Coco 2, sure. I mean, I'll go back to the world of Coco, but I don't know. Is there a Pixar sequel that you would actually want to see, Chat? Is there a Pixar movie you'd love to follow up on, or would you prefer more original? I don't know. In an interview for Invincible, Steven Yeun talked about having to exit the MCU and whether or not he'd be back. So speaking with MovieWeb, Steven Yeun acknowledged the fact that, his collaborator and director of Beef, Jake Schreier, directed the Thunderbolts, and originally Steven Yeun was signed up to play Sentry, or Bob. That role, of course, ended up going to Lewis Pullman, who did really well in the role. I was very satisfied with him in it. And Steven Yeun said, yeah, I saw the movie. I was very proud of the work that my friend did. And, that door is always open if I can come back at some point. But, the real story. His co-star from Invincible, Gillian Jacobs, who you might know as Britta from Community, actually said, if she'd ever like to work with Marvel, she says, actually, I have a pitch. Do you know this comic, Dakota North? It was a short-run Marvel comic, and I think that would make a great TV show. However they'll have me, I don't know. I just discovered that comic, and I think it's such a great world visually. It's such a fun character. I've always liked Dakota North. So, excuse me? You're telling me Gillian Jacobs is like deep diving into Marvel lore, trying to pitch herself on a Marvel TV show? Well, let's learn a little bit about it. So Dakota North, thanks to Murphy's Multiverse here for getting us a little bit more inside. Dakota North is a 1986 comic, and she's not a superhero. She's a high fashion model turned private investigator who specializes in high-stakes corporate espionage and personal security that the Avengers wouldn't even notice. Okay, Gillian Jacobs, that's kind of a fire pitch. I would actually love to see something like a Marvel Spotlight series like we just had for Wonder Man, but for Dakota North. That actually sounds incredible. And yes, new nerd crush. Absolutely. She is the investigative tissue that connects the high society glitz of the Marvel elite with the grime of the criminal underworld. I'm in, dude. 100%. Get her on the phone now, dude. Come on. Dakota North was a primary investigator for Nelson and Murdoch at some point. Am I crazy for thinking that this could make so much money? Bro, it writes itself. That's so good. Why are we sleeping on this? And she's literally showing up saying, I have a pitch. Hello, Marvel. Now, look, if this was a different time, if this was back in the early Disney Plus days, Bob Chapek era, they would have had her on the phone immediately. They would have had her on the phone. Back when Marvel television was first getting started, they were greenlighting everything. Kevin Feige had a quote recently. They did an interview with him, and he was talking about how, we want to make a She-Hulk series. Yes, green light. What's that? Oscar Isaac wants to play Moon Knight. Absolutely, green light. Send it. They were just Miss Marvel. Yes, absolutely. Turn it into a show. They had full green lights to do everything. Obviously, now they've had to way slow down. But Dakota North, Gillian Jacobs, I'm in, dude. That's such a good pitch. That's such a good pitch. Plus, you would have such a fun ability to like tie in, like, again, somebody who's like international model turned, espionage investigator. Like, you could have real world cameos from high fashion folks. You have some established fashion industry people in Marvel. In She-Hulk, we learn about the guy who makes all the costumes. We could dive into that world a little bit. You could tie her in with Street Level, with Nelson and Murdoch, with Daredevil, with Jessica Jones. It's right there. Devil Wears Prada meets Marvel. Yes, dude. But like Devil Wears Prada meets like, I don't know. Devil Wears Prada meets Knives Out, right? Let's make it a full mystery. Let's let her like fully dive into this world. That would be so much fun. So Marvel, get Gillian Jacobs on the phone, please. She's ready for you. She brought out Dakota North, brother. She had a pitch ready. That means she either is actually a nerd or she sat there on the Marvel wiki one day and went, female character in her 30s, no super suit. And you know what? If that's what she did and she showed up with a pitch, all credit to her. All credit to her. I would watch this show. I would watch this show. What else would make a great show, apparently? Hot off the presses today, Tink, live action series based on Tinkerbell, is in the works at Disney+. Let's take a breath. Let's take a breath. Live action Tinkerbell series in the works at Disney+. Where are they ever going to find an actor that size? All right, good night, chat. Good night. Sorry, the best message just came through. I got nothing else to say. Goodbye. All right. So obviously Tinkerbell is an incredible staple in the world of Disney. Not only is she like the standout character from the 1950s classic Peter Pan, but Tinkerbell is like full on integrated and established with the Disney identity. Tinkerbell is the swoosh in every magical moment that happens at Disney. And it's an IP that frankly has sat dormant for quite some time. There was a Tinkerbell animated series or an animated movie series that ran for quite some time. And now it looks like we're giving it another shot in live action. So Tink, and again, I'm saying Tink, T-I-N-K, is a drama series featuring the character from Liz Heldens and Bridget Carpenter. Liz Heldens and Bridget Carpenter met while working on Friday Night Lights. Heldens has worked on The Orville and The Dropout and Will Trent, and Carpenter comes from Parenthood, Westworld, and Only Murders in the Building. What is the tone of this show? I just don't understand what the goal is with this show. Like, is this going to be a drama? Like what? Like a high school drama about Tinkerbell before she, like, what is the pitch? What is the pitch here? I just can't wrap my head around it. Live action and drama seems crazy to me. This isn't the first time that there was a live action Tinkerbell project in the works. Back in 2015, a live action feature named Tink was in development with Reese Witherspoon set to play the lead. This project was on hold for a really long time, and in 2021, it was officially retooled, and that's when I believe the initial work started on developing this show. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I have zero interest in a live-action Tinkerbell drama, like a high school drama, Friday Night Lights style drama about Tinkerbell, the fairy from Neverland. It feels weird that this is going to be live action. What's the scale going to be? Is there going to be a massive Peter Pan? Is this going to be like what the Powerpuff Girls live action show was supposed to be? Like, I just don't know how to wrap my head around it. And I don't like it. But we'll see. Will this actually, that's the question I have for you, chat. Will this series actually go into development, into production? Are we going to see a live action Tink, T-I-N-K, hit our Disney Plus screens in a few years? I'm going to call it now. I don't think this makes it all the way. I don't think this actually goes into production. I am happy to be wrong on this one if it ends up being an amazing show and I eat my words, but I'm going to hope we never actually see this show come to life. Is that wrong of me to say? Maybe. But y'all let me know, chat. Do you want to see Tinkerbell? What's your take on Tinkerbell? What's your pitch? Is it a high school drama? For our next story, chat, I just have a quick question. I have a quick question for you. Do you recognize this sound? This sound familiar to you? Yep, someone in chat already sniped it. THX. That's right. Who else just got chills in the back of their neck? Listen to that. One more time. Wait, did I rewind the VHS? That's right. THX. If you don't know, THX was a legendary provider of sound in the world of entertainment and film, and specifically theaters. And inexplicably, out of nowhere, THX tweets out, "It returns April 2026. What that means, I don't know. But if you were a movie-going person maybe 10 years ago or so, you would remember that THX sound systems were pretty common in movie theaters. There was also some THX home systems, but most importantly, THX, going back like 20 years ago, would work on remixing audio for home entertainment. So they would remix, and I know remix sounds like they would update the mix of the sound for your TVs so that the sound that came out of your speakers at home would be a little closer to what the filmmakers intended. Obviously, with modern technology, modern televisions and speakers, this practice became less and less necessary. Everybody and their mother has a soundbar now. And then, of course, Dolby Atmos kind of took over the space of sound systems in the movie theaters. And now, you go to AMC's, the Dolby Atmos theaters. Regal has their own branded Regal Premium Experience, RPX, something like that. But it appears as though maybe THX is trying to get back into the swing of things. So we'll keep an eye out for this full announcement. But in the meantime, I'm open to it. THX. I'll see what you got. Speaking of things that are coming back, we also have our first official teaser of Ted Lasso Season 4. That's right. Even though we had maybe one of the most perfect conclusions to a TV series, Ted Lasso is returning. And this is our first look. Soccer women. And that's it. Now, if you haven't heard already, yes, Ted Lasso is coming back, with the new pitch being that AFC Richmond is launching a women's team, and they are bringing Ted Lasso and the crew back to get that team off the ground. Will this turn into anything more than just one season of television? My thought, my prediction, and frankly, my hope is that it will not. Back at the beginning of the year, I made some predictions about things that would happen this year. So far, I've been doing pretty well. I just need at the Oscars for K-pop Demon Hunters to announce a live show, and then I'll really be killing it. But that's right. I predicted that Ted Lasso was going to be a one and done season. We will see. I mean, Ted Lasso is an incredibly wholesome show, really well executed. Really, and part of the reason why I'm a little sad that they're doing a season 4 is that if you watch like the pilot episode and the finale of season 3, like you'll get it. You'll like everything comes back full circle. There's so many like open threads that are closed off perfectly. And yes, you have 3 entire seasons of television in there, but it's like picture perfect writing for comedy television series. So I'm a little bit disappointed to be seeing it come back, but I get it. Money is money. But folks, that's actually going to wrap it up for Movie News Monday. Thank you so much for stopping by to learn a little bit about what's going on in the world of entertainment. But do not go away, chat, because on stream we are going to be building out our bingo cards. That's right. The Oscars are next Sunday, which if you want to have a nice recap after show of the Oscars, make sure you stop by stream next Monday, we're going to be talking about all the awards, all the big moments, everything that happened, as well as maybe getting into some punishments as needed. But we are going to be building out our bingo board so that you can have something fun to do on the side while you're watching the show. We're going to be doing that on my stream. So if you're watching on TikTok or on Instagram, head on over to Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube, come over to Twitch and watch this live so you can participate. What are you doing? You're missing out. In either case, I have been Jupy Gorg. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you at the movies. Say goodbye, chat.